Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Rippin' the Fence, we're going to be breaking down everything we saw from Charlotte Motor Speedway, maybe even a little bit of Indy and Monaco as well. But before we hop into the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it if you guys did that. But let's go ahead and hop into the video, waste no time. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me. And as we start off this video, I just want to say happy Memorial Day. Thank you to all the soldiers who have fought for this country, currently fight for our country, have passed away. We wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you so much to any of the soldiers who have served in our military. I'm going to say this a couple times throughout the video, but I feel like NASCAR does the best job at honoring our military, at least from a sports perspective. Go ahead and fight me in the comments section down below, but I feel like NASCAR does one of the best jobs ever doing that. But anyways, Matthew, my friend and co-host, like I said, is joining me. How are you doing before we hop into everything we saw this weekend?
Well, I hope everyone's having a great Memorial Day weekend. Of course, we also had the best weekend of all motorsports with the Monaco Grand Prix of Formula One, or as Jimmy likes to call it, Netflix racing. Of course, the Indianapolis 500, and then of course the Coca-Cola 600 with NASCAR. So yeah, what an interesting weekend it was for all of us motorsports fans, and yeah, let's get right into it.
All right. So I get the whole Netflix thing from a guy that we both follow on social media. His name's Dale Tanhart. So if you don't follow him, give him a follow. He is one of the funniest content creators out there. So make sure you do that. But be advised, he does joke around very severely. Um, but anyways, yeah. Formula One or Netflix racing, it was only lap one. It was cool. And I saw a stat that like the top 10 positions didn't change at all during the race, and that was like the first time that's ever happened. So, not really sure why F1 and ESPN are like boasting about that stat. That's not a good stat to be showboating about, but nonetheless, that happened early in the morning. We went to Indy for the Indy 500, which was unfortunately delayed due to weather, and that would affect Kyle Larson attempting to do the double. He chose to stay in Indy to start the 500, which means he missed the start of the Coca Cola 600. We'll get a little bit more into that a little bit later. But gosh, this whole week was just filled of action. Like, I'm all sported out. Like, I've watched two diehard NBA playoff games over the weekend with the Dallas Mavericks. I watched a truck race Friday night, an Xfinity race on Saturday, the triple header on Sunday. Like, I'm all sported out. I'm gonna need a few days to just decompress after everything I saw over the weekend. But Nick Sanchez ended up winning the truck race. Corey Heim got disqualified for having multiple loose lug nuts, so he'll lose any points he had. Um, I think he won a stage or two as well, so he'll lose those playoff points as well. In Xfinity, repping the HendrickCars.com hat, the number 17 hat that I got at Hendrick Motorsports. Chase Elliott was able to get the win there. He had an extra set of tires and put them on with about 25 laps to go, so he was able to make his way to the front and get the win over there. There is something else about Xfinity I want to talk about at the end if we have time. That'll be like my rant for the video, so stay tuned for that if we have time at the end. But Chase Elliott won the Xfinity race. And then, like I said, on Sunday, the Indy 500 got delayed, so that affected Kyle Larson and him making it to Charlotte on time. Justin Allgaier ended up starting in the number 5 car and had to start from the rear as well. He actually unlapped himself from Ty Gibbs early in stage 1, and then William Byron passed Ty Gibbs for the lead, and I think he lapped Allgaier again, and then Justin Allgaier unlapped himself once again from William Byron. So that was pretty impressive there early from Justin Allgaier. William Byron won the opening stage. It seemed like it was going to be a battle between William Byron and the Gibbs cars because Truex looked strong, Ty Gibbs looked strong, Christopher Bell looked strong. Like all the Gibbs cars, they look good all day long. A few incidents in stage 2. Ryan Blaney, he hit the wall after having a loose wheel. That ended his day early. And then Noah Gragson hit the inside wall in stage 2 as well. There wasn't a great angle of this. Shout out Fox for that. But it was funny, or not funny. It was funny how Fox Sports didn't have a good angle. Um, but didn't seem like there was a great angle of the incident. It seemed like Gregson and Stenhouse made contact somehow. I don't know if Gregson came up a little bit or if Stenhouse came down. Nonetheless, that sent Gregson into the inside wall, destroyed the nose of his car. That would end his day. Christopher Bell would win stage number two, and the threat of rain was coming. It was actually the same cell, I think, that was in Indy. It just kind of made its way to the southeast, just slowly but surely. And the threat of that started around the end of stage two. People started talking about it. There was a caution for Corey LaJoie on lap 29 in stage three, and then everybody pitted at that point. And then William Byron had a heck of a move. He made a pass in the grass off turn four. He got a huge run on the cars in front of him, ducked it down to the left. All four tires might have went in the grass or quote unquote turf, I guess, nowadays. But that was pretty cool moment in stage three. I guess you could call it a pass in the turf, not a pass in the grass now. Um, but shortly after that LaJoie caution on lap 29, it was about probably 10, 15 laps of green flag racing they got in before the caution ended up coming out because of rain. And I'll get into the whole process of that in a minute, but they ended up calling the race a few hours after that. Christopher Bell was the leader, so he ended up getting the win. So I'll throw the results up on the screen for you guys, and then I will give you guys some post-race thoughts. So Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski, another strong run. Seems like those Fords are trending in the right direction. Um, a lot of Toyotas here in the top 10 as well. Chase Elliott 7th, Ross Chastain 8th, Alex Bowman 9th, and Josh Berry rounds out the top 10. Another good run for Josh Berry in one of those SHR cars. So let's start off with the winner, Christopher Bell. It seems like I looked at his stats, and his stats weren't as bad as I thought they were, but it just kind of seems like after his Phoenix win that he's just kind of not been the most consistent driver. But he has had a few top 10 finishes in there, and he finished second at Coda. Um, but it almost just kind of feels like Christopher Bell wasn't as strong as his Toyota teammates, especially Denny Hamlin, since he's been out of this world this season so far. Um, but yeah, Christopher Bell just kind of seems a little bit inconsistent. I feel like if they can dial that in a little bit, he could arguably be a championship threat. And then, obviously, if they get to Phoenix again, Christopher Bell pretty good at that track. He could, win the championship, kind of like Ryan Blaney did last year. Just kind of survived the playoffs, made it to Phoenix, and got the win there. Um, as for the end of the race, with everything that happened with the weather and everything like that, it was kind of confusing at first, but thankfully we're recording this on Memorial Day, so we both had a chance to observe everything and see what happened to why NASCAR ended up calling this race the way it did. And I think from the time they threw the red flag to the time they called the race was about 2 hours or so. Um, and the reason they called it is because the track simply was not drying pretty much at all. At least that's what I heard from Jordan Bianchi on the teardown. Um, he said that people went out to the track and they were just looking at the track about an hour and a half afterwards, and it just was not drying well at all. And if they got the race restarted around like 1 o'clock, then there would be people there till like 3 a.m. They had 150 miles left of the race with cautions and all that stuff included. So I can understand where they're coming from in calling the race. It is unfortunate that they made everybody wait about 2 hours before calling the race, and it looks like they were trying to get the race restarted because they sent the jet dryers out there. But um, I guess just the weather conditions and the mix of the the wetness and the humidity and everything like that, just was not allowing for the track to dry. So very unfortunate that the race ended that way, and especially with the whole Kyle Larson thing, he wasn't even able to get in the race car. He pretty much got to the track right when it started raining. Um, so that was unfortunate. He did post a very powerful tweet on Twitter just explaining his frustration and disappointment and everything that happened. And I could definitely see where he's coming from. It's frustrating for sure that all of this started in Indy when it rained there, and sure enough, the same rain cell ends up affecting his Coca-Cola 600 chances as well. Justin Allgaier was in 13th, by the way, when the red flag came out. So, gotta give props to Justin Allgaier. Great job for him to be able to just keep that car clean and in a very good running position as well. And on the radio at some point, he was saying something along the lines of, if Kyle Larson gets in this car, he's going to drive it straight to the front. So it must have been a good car, and I wish Kyle Larson could have gotten in it because he probably could have contended for the win based on how good his car was. Um, but yeah, just a disappointing effort, or not effort, disappointing circumstance for his double to get ruined by the weather. This is a 2-year deal though, so I would imagine they're going to try to run it back next year. Um, so hopefully they could do that. Hopefully he can get 1,100 miles in next year. And the main, I don't want to say controversy, the main debate topic of this whole situation with Kyle Larson is, does he deserve a waiver? And there's seems to be a bunch of mixed reactions. The negative side, the why he shouldn't deserve a waiver, seems to be that he chose to do the Indy 500, so there should be a consequence of him missing the Coca-Cola 600. And NASCAR is like his primary job, and he chose to miss that, so all that kind of stuff. Um, but I think the majority of the NASCAR community does want to see him get a waiver here, just because this ended up helping NASCAR more than hurting it, especially from a promotion standpoint. There were people talking about this all across the world. All the major um, sports networks were talking about this, and like this is like 8 months of preparation. Apparently, he even had like a filming. He was filming a documentary or something. He had a camera crew with him for 8 months talking about this. So this is a major moment in sports history. So I think this actually helped NASCAR out, and he tried his best to get to Charlotte as quick as he could. Couldn't control the weather. So I think he will get a waiver, and I think he should get a waiver as well. As for like the future, I don't like drivers doing it multiple times. I feel like it should be like kind of like a 1 or 2 time thing. Like if you're able to complete the 1,100 miles, you should probably just do it once, and after that, whatever consequences come, that's what's gonna happen. But Larson did end up losing the regular standings points lead, I believe, to, I don't know if it's Denny Hamlin or Martin Truex Jr. I'd have to look, but he was in the regular season points lead, and he ended up losing that because he did not get in the race car. So that was a big gamble that they took. It could affect the championship if he doesn't win the regular season championship and get those extra bonus points. We've seen every time in the playoffs, each round comes down to 1, 2, 3 points determining someone advancing to the next round or not. So that could affect Kyle Larson here, but we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, he's able to. This doesn't make a big difference in his, regular season championship, playoff run, anything like that. Just disappointing that the weather ended up playing a big factor in that. Um, but yeah, as for the race itself, I don't know. I just wasn't super entertained for some reason. I don't really know why. I don't know if it's just because the Indy 500, the rain delay, that put a damper on the whole day, which had a great finish, by the way. And then, like, just the fact of Kyle Larson not being able to complete the double. I don't know. I just wasn't into this race as much as I thought I would be. Um, but I thought it was okay. Nothing too crazy. A few incidents. A decent battles throughout the race. Just nothing too crazy for me. But yeah, I think I've talked enough. It was quite the wild day in racing on Sunday. Matthew, what do you have to say about everything you saw from Charlotte on Sunday?
Well, it was quite a busy day, or busy weekends you were saying earlier. Different sports overall. Um, First and foremost, of course, I watched Monaco Grand Prix in the morning, which I mean, I'm glad someone else different won, but still pretty forgettable. Besides lap one, that's all you need to know about that. And then the Indianapolis 500, Justin Newgarden goes back to back, but man, I feel so bad for Pato Award. I really wanted him to win that race, but fortunately, Newgarden just got the right run in the right time. So, I mean, props to them. And then we get to the Coca-Cola 600. Um, Congrats to Christopher Bell. I know it was rain short, but he put him in that spot. He was in the right spot at the right time. Second win this season. He had one of the better cars today, so it's still deserving. So congrats to Christopher Bell. Um, I thought the race overall it was good for the most part. Of course, the first like the first beginning of it, I was watching the Indy 500 and on my phone, and then watching the Cup race on TV. So it was hard to multitask what was going on for each race. Um, but of course, the main story that comes out of this is Kyle Larson. Um, I know there's gonna be a lot of controversy, a lot of debate on, did Kyle make the right decision? Should he go on the Coke 600? In my opinion, I don't. I think he made the decision that he wanted. I think he made the right decision, which was to go to the Indianapolis 500. I mean, I mean, no disrespect to the Coke 600. The Indianapolis 500 is arguably the biggest race in America, like the biggest race of the year in America in terms of motorsports. Um, and I don't blame Larson one bit for wanting to stick around and get the whole experience in. I mean, he was running pretty decent with a top 10, around top 10 until he split on pit road. But I don't exactly blame Larson for, sticking with the Indy 500. I mean, out of all of this, Mother Nature just sucks. Mother Nature sucks because when it comes, it ruins everything. Um, I mean, it didn't exactly ruin the Indy 500, but it definitely ruined the Cup race because with that rain delay for Indy, it pretty much eliminated the chance of the 1,100 miles to actually be real, to be true. So it's an absolute shame, but it's Mother Nature. I mean, there's nothing you could do about it. And as far as the ending goes, like why they called it late and all that, and they were drying the track and all that. I think that was a decision more than a NASCAR decision. I mean, I know the humidity plays a part of it, but I think Fox was ultimately the decision maker in all this because I'm sure they didn't want to continue doing this broadcast to like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Which I don't get why that's a big deal, but I guess to them it is. So unfortunately, I think they're the ones that made the decision overall. And of course, NASCAR's not going to say, oh, that was Fox's decision, the partner that's paying us billions of dollars here. So, of course, they're not going to say that. So, of course, NASCAR's going to take the heat out of all of it. But I believe this was a Fox decision. Um, but I mean, overall, it was a good racing with the racing product and all, but unfortunately, it just kind of soured with people expecting Larson to come and all that, but unfortunately, he didn't get the chance to. So, I mean, it just sucks. Mother Nature is it's just unbelievable sometimes.
Yeah, definitely not the way anybody wanted that race weekend to go. But yeah, let's go ahead and rate the race and do our favorite paint scheme before we get some other stuff out there before we get on out of here. So rating the race for me, I think I'll just give it a I don't know. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And then for the paint scheme of the race, of course, I have to pick one of these awesome patriotic paint schemes. Like I said, NASCAR, one of, if not the best sports that honors our military. Don't at me in the comments. Um, I'm going to go with Alex Bowman's number 48 Ally car. Love the red, white, and blue pattern on this race car, and then the dog tags on the hood. That's a nice little touch as well. So, really love that paint scheme. But all the, military paint schemes were very good looking on the racetrack this weekend. But that's going to be my favorite. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race? And then what was your favorite paint scheme as well?
I'm gonna give this race a 7 out of 10 as well. I thought this it was for the most part it was a good race, but unfortunately the rain ended it soon, and also Larson didn't show up, so that's gonna have to take some points off of that one. So 7 out of 10. Now, as for my paint scheme race, of course I gotta go with Ross Chastain's patriotic paint scheme. Man, that paint scheme's amazing. Every time I see it, the moment they showed it off, I was in love with it. So that's it.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing Ross's paint scheme as well. I really like his too. So good thing that you picked that one. But as we close this video out, we do have a little bit of news that came out about the whole Stenhouse and Kyle Busch fight, some penalties that came from that. And I do have a small rant I want to get in real quick, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was fined $75,000. His dad was suspended indefinitely, and then two crew members were suspended. One was for 4 races, and one was for 8 races. I agree with most of these penalties. I'm a little bit back and forth on the Stenhouse fine just because NASCAR promoted the heck out of this event. Um, I don't think it should have been 75,000, maybe 25,000 or so. I don't know, but it's just kind of contradictory for them to penalize the guy that they're promoting, if that makes any kind of sense. But anyways, that came out. Stewart Haas Racing is going to tell their team on Tuesday, the day this video goes live, probably, um, what the future of that team is. And this is very interesting because there's rumors that they could sell one or two charters, or they could just completely sell everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And then my small little rant for this video, going back to the Xfinity race, there was an incident between Cole Custer and Austin Hill. It seemed like Austin Hill kind of barely ran Cole Custer up the track off of turn 4. Custer hit the wall. Down the front stretch, they made contact. I'm not sure if Custer came down to like retaliate or if they just kind of made contact like that. That made Austin Hill blow a right front tire and wreck himself and Cole Custer in turn 1. Then Austin Hill decides to basically attach the front bumper of his car to Cole Custer's back bumper, shove him down the back straightaway, and then just spin him out into oncoming traffic down the backstretch and destroy Cole Custer's car even more by hitting the inside wall. This is absolutely unacceptable. Like, I hate to bring this up, Matthew, I'm sorry, but it goes back to the whole Kyle Busch incident where he wrecked Ron Hornaday under caution. Almost the same thing. I don't think it wasn't as bad as that, but it's almost like if the Kyle Busch one is here, this is like right here. It's pretty close. So in my opinion, I think Austin Hill should get at least fined for sure, and then either a points penalty or suspension because that's just downright unacceptable. And I'm sorry. You call me the Austin Hill hater, leader of the Austin Hill hater fan club if you want. I'm sorry. Matthew knows I do not like Austin Hill, respectfully, of course. But like he's just such a baby. Like he throws fits over every little thing. He got mad at Sammy Smith in the middle of the race for the same thing. He's oh my gosh, I could go off. I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna make us look bad. But like go back to the whole Martinsville situation. Like with him and Sheldon Creed, RCR and Andy Petrie, they held Austin Hill like he's up here. Like he's just the greatest thing on earth with no regard to Sheldon Creed. And then I think he had another incident this year too. Like, oh my gosh, Austin Hill, grow up, man. Like, come on. But yeah, I think he at least deserves to get fined, and then a points penalty and or a suspension needs to be handed out for that. Just unacceptable. But yeah, there's my rant for the video. Hopefully you guys stuck around for that, like I told you to in the beginning of the video. But anyways, Matthew, do you have any comments about the penalties or the Stewart Haas rumors or the whole Austin Hill thing before we go ahead and finish this video up?
I'm gonna get you an Austin Hill shirt for Christmas this year. It sounds like
If
you're a
you
big
can get
fan
me,
of
you
him,
can get me
but
one. If you can get me one if it says like President of the Austin Hill Hate Club or something like that.
hmm, might have to make one off customink.com or something like that. But I guess I'll speak about the whole Stenhouse fine thing. What drives me, I can't believe these people are really surprised or shocked that Stenhouse has got fined, even though they're promoting it. Why they? I don't know why these people are acting like this is the first time NASCAR has ever done this. They've always promoted this stuff, even though so and so's gone fined or that movie's illegal. They promote the Hail Melon all the time. And guess what? That movie's illegal, but they're promoting it. They promote so many different crashes and flips that probably injured people. They promote it, and they've promoted so many fights over the years that they've gone fined from. Like I've seen, of course, the 1979 Daytona 500 fight. They promote that all the time. I've seen promotions every time we go to Bristol. Jeff Gordon pushing Matt Kenseth after the race, and I think Gordon got fined for that one. So this is nothing new that NASCAR's done here, and I don't know why people are acting like they're so shocked. Like this has never happened before. I mean, guess what? NASCAR's not gonna bend the rule book just because something got popular on social media. I hate to break it to you. So that's all I'll say about that. I think they got everything right on that, so that's my opinion.
Alright, well, that is going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Very long weekend, like we said, in sports, but in racing specifically with the triple header in NASCAR and then the triple header on Sunday. Let us know your thoughts and comments about everything that you saw over the weekend down in the comment section below. Even if we didn't touch on it too much, there was a lot going on, but we got as much as we could in this video without taking up an hour of your time. So thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate your support. Uh, Video for the next race will be out probably sometime next week. Make sure you stay tuned for that. But until the next time, we will see you guys in the next one.